A new CNN poll shows that a majority of Americans believe that Russia's efforts to influence the 2016 presidential election is a big deal and should be investigated. But President Trump's attacks on special counsel Robert Mueller appear to be taking a toll. CNN senior political analyst Mark Preston is here with us with the new numbers. Mark, tell us what you found.
Well, Allison, you're absolutely right. We do have these new numbers out. And look at these numbers right here. There's a 20-point differential right now. 55% of Americans believe that this investigation is a serious matter. But that's where the train goes a little bit off the rails, and let's explain why. Look at the approval rating right now of Mr. Mueller, who is leading this independent investigation into possible collusion with Russia. If you go back to March, his approval rating was at 48%. Now it has dropped 7 points. The question is, why is that? Well, a couple reasons. One is you have this constant berating and attacking by President Trump directly on Robert Mueller and his team, as well as his allies are doing the same thing. So where are the folks who agree with this investigation? Let's take a look at the issue of impeachment. More than 4 in 10 Americans right now believe that President Trump should be impeached based upon the information that we know at this point. 51% say no. So what is driving that number? Well, it really does come down to party. Look at this. Less than 10% of Republicans believe that Donald Trump should be impeached. Look at the Democratic number. That's nearly 8 in 10 Democrats believe that Donald Trump should be kicked out of office. And then the independents kind of roughly equal where we are right now when the 42% number is brought in. Now, for historical context, the last time the number was this high was during Richard Nixon's presidency in 1974. Back to you, Allison. John?
Yeah, it didn't end well for him either, if you remember. Mark Preston, thanks very much. Maggie, there are 2 numbers there that jump out to me. Number one, the number Mark was just talking about, the 42% impeachment number. 30% almost always say they want to see the president impeached, but 42 is significantly higher. And then you see Robert Mueller's approval rating dropping, which is exactly what Rudy Giuliani and the president have been trying to do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, even people around the president who initially were incredibly uncomfortable with what Rudy Giuliani was saying, doing, the fact that he clearly had not learned all of the facts in the case, he was just thrown out there by the president on the first day or two, they are happy with what he is doing because he has sowed so much confusion. He has said so many different things, but mostly what he has done is he has punched Mueller in the face over and over and over again. And all this president likes to do, as we know, is be on offense. And if you repeat things often enough, people will start to believe it. So you are seeing that in those numbers.
But does Mueller need a high approval rating, or can he just do his job and release the findings?
Mueller, where this comes into play is if you believe, as the president's team does, that he will not be indicted, that the DOJ is going to abide by the guidelines that you can't indict a sitting president, then there will be a report to Congress. And then that becomes, in their mind, much more of a PR issue, essentially, of a political issue, because you are trying to influence public opinion with voters who are going to be talking to their own representatives. Their own representatives are going to be mindful if they want. This is going to be a vote in Congress if it gets to that. That's their end game.
The impeachment number is interesting.
It is.
42% say they want to impeach. That's high. I mean, that's
high.
very high. We always talk about, oh, the president's got 30 to 35% of support no matter what. A 42% impeachment number, that's incredibly high on the other side.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, again, we are talking right now in theory, right? I mean, we are not there yet. But look, there is no question that this president has not been able to, A, he has done very little to galvanize support around him, number one. Number two, there have been a series of lingering scandals around him. The Scott Pruitt issues that seem to be, you know, one a day, for instance, issues related to the president's own business ties. And then I do think the fact that this appears to have been done, this poll, if I'm reading correctly, in the middle of this crisis about the border separations.
Sunday was the last day, so it actually wasn't even the worst of it, but it was happening.
But it was in the middle of it, and I suspect that played a role. I mean, this is, again, this is going to be a stain on this president's tenure, regardless of whether he can accept that, and that is, I think, part of what you are seeing in those numbers.